In the next scene, Jin's sitting with the director, who offers Jin to have tea. But our boy politely declines, saying he's good. The director then asks how working with the security team has been for him. Jin says it's been fine. The director moves on to ask how he's liking the school, and Jin responds that it's nice. Finally, the director asks if there's anything they can do to help him with anything, and Jin says no in response. Our boy then asks if that's all the director wanted to talk about, and, if so, he's heading out because training is about to start. The old man happily tells him he can go, so Jin gets up from his seat, bows his head respectfully, and the director returns the gesture, leaving his assistant a bit bewildered, because he finds it weird that the director is paying respects to a kid. Nevertheless, Jin starts to walk out. Later, we see all the guards diligently training in the hall. Amid their exercises, we catch up with Jie and her bodyguard after a long time. Her guard notes that Jin doesn't stand out like he used to. Jie gets curious and asks more about Jin. The bodyguard responds that while Jin doesn't stand out as much as he used to, he's definitely quicker and more athletic than their men. He's certain that Jin is quite experienced because his skill level can only be achieved through rigorous training in combat, so there's no doubt that he's received a lot of professional training. After hearing this, Jie's interest in Jin is piqued. She explains that although he's young, he's quietly endured harsh training, and the men have all warmed up to him as well. The scene then flashes back to the past, where we see Major Kang meeting with Jie once again. As they're chatting, she advises him to try not to overwork himself and get hurt, and Kang responds that he won't. Then he asks her if she's still looking into that student she asked about. At first, she has no idea what he's talking about, but then a bell rings in her mind. She pretends to be uninterested and asks if he means that kid named Jin. But in her thoughts, she is blown away to see how Kang still remembers Jin's name from that day, and she also can't shake off how he looks so anxious after asking about Jin. Eventually, Jie smiles and says she's no longer interested in Jin, which visibly brightens Major Kang's mood. Jie notices this shift in his mood, and she can definitely see there's more to the story. In the present moment, when she looks at our boy, she wonders if Jin might actually know her fiancé. After a while, we see her car zooming down the road, and Jin is also sitting beside her. She casually brings up the idea of Jin joining their talent agency, and suggests that he could benefit from their top-notch training programs in acting or singing. Jin, however, promptly declines, saying he's simply not interested. Jie can't help but be intrigued by his immediate and firm response. She wonders if he could at least pretend to consider it, finding his lack of hesitation a bit puzzling. She then finally asks him if he happens to know Major Kang, and then further reveals that he's her fiancé. Of course, this news surprises Jin, and his mind flashes back to the past when Kang mentioned he had to meet his fiancé. Jin has absolutely no doubts that she definitely knows Major Kang. When she looks at him, she finds herself bewildered, as Jin just sits there, looking clearly untroubled by this unexpected bombshell. Well, my guy just looks way too untroubled to the point that he looks weird, because this is definitely not his style. Even she senses something different about him, and she can't quite put her finger on it. A while later, once they reach their destination, Jie heads into the corporate building. On the other hand, Jin and his senior get inside the staff-only room to freshen themselves up. Meanwhile, Jin's mind is still stuck on the fact that Jie is Major Kang's fiancé. He can't quite believe it. While the guards wait outside the ladies' restroom, we see Jie inside, doing some makeover to her face. We then noticed someone else also entering the restroom, and not gonna lie, this woman who just entered looks kinda shady at first glance. The woman then also begins using one of the sinks, located over Jie's right shoulder. Just as Jie is standing quietly there, that shady woman quickly puts a chloroform rag right over Jie's face. After Jie finally slumps down after losing her consciousness, we see that the guards outside have also been taken down. The woman with black hair then quickly instructs her lackeys to hurry and transport the goods. Suddenly, the senior bodyguard gets a shocking report. Mr. Sin has vanished, and Jinsu and Kaeyoungwoo, who were supposed to be escorting him, have been found unconscious on the ground. Wasting no time, the senior orders his soldiers to seal all exits and secure the surveillance footage immediately. Our guy bursts out of the restroom the moment he hears the news and races through the corridor, thinking that the intruders have disarmed security and secured their target, so it's only a matter of time before they make their getaway via car. After rushing down the stairs, he finally reaches the parking lot. He spots a man getting into a car and quickly moves to block its path, only to realize it's just some clueless guy inside. Meanwhile, the real criminals are speeding off in their getaway car from the other side. Jin takes off after them, sprinting at full speed. Without hesitation, he jumps in front of their car, but those bastards don't even slow down, and they try to run him over instead. As those bastards make their getaway, our boy quickly radios in that he's spotted the suspect's vehicle, which is a black minivan. Jin does not waste any time and leaps over those parked cars and tries to grab the minivan,